When helping students prepare for the Ielts test, one of the biggest fears is how to do well in Ielts Writing Task 2. Ielts Writing Task 2 is the second part of the writing test, where you are presented with a point of view, argument, or problem and asked to write an essay in response. Your essay should be in a formal style, at least 250 words in length, and you should aim to complete it in under 40 minutes. Ielts Writing Task 2, everything you need to know. In this video, I'll outline exactly what you must do to create an Ielts Writing Task 2 essay that could score a band 7, 8, or 9. It doesn't matter if you are new to Ielts or if you've failed the exam before. I've broken everything down into a simple 3-step process that anyone can use to improve their scores. Watch the video above to find out what they are. 5 steps to a band 7 in Ielts Writing Task 2. 1. Understand the question. You must understand the question before you attempt to answer it. This way, you'll know exactly what the examiner is looking for. One of the biggest mistakes students make is not answering the question fully, which stops them from getting a score higher than a band 5. To analyze the question, you must first identify the question type, then identify the keywords in the question, and finally identify the instructions words. This will help you understand exactly what the examiner wants you to do with the question. 2. Plan your answer. The students who get the highest marks in Writing Task 2 always plan their answers for up to 10 minutes. Planning helps you organize your ideas and structure your essay before you write it, saving you time and helping you produce a clear and coherent essay. 3. Write an introduction. The introduction should answer the question directly. This tells the examiner that you know what you are doing straight away and helps you write your main body paragraphs. 4. Write the main body paragraphs. This is where you give the examiner more detail. You do this by stating your main points and supporting these with explanations and relevant examples. 5. Write a conclusion. In your conclusion, you should provide a summary of what you already said in the rest of your essay. 4 ways to improve your score in Ielts Writing Task 2. Many people know they need to improve their writing skills but don't know how to do it. Here are 4 ways you can boost your score in Writing Task 2. 1. Understand the exam. You must first understand what Ielts Writing Task 2 is, what you are expected to do, and how to give the examiners what they want. This is the first stage and one that is often overlooked. There are many online resources, often with conflicting and poor quality information, so finding a reliable source of information is key. 2. Identify your weak areas. If your car breaks down, you would try and identify which part caused the problem. If you get sick, your doctor will run tests to determine the exact cause of your symptoms. Ielts Writing Task 2 is the same. We must first identify why you are not getting the score you need before we can help you improve. However, be very careful. You wouldn't ask the average man on the street for medical advice, so make sure you find someone who knows what they are doing and has the expertise to help you with this. 3. Fix the problems. Now that we know what the problems are, we must fix them. If your grammar needs work, fix those issues. If your vocabulary is lacking, work on fixing this issue. Just as a good doctor can help you fix a medical problem, a good Ielts teacher can help you fix your specific issues. 4. Practice and get feedback. Practice alone will not help you. It is an essential part of your preparation, but you must also get feedback on your work if you are really going to improve. You wouldn't try to teach yourself how to drive without an instructor, would you? Find someone who will give you accurate and helpful feedback on your work. Otherwise, you will not be able to move to the last stage. Now that you have understood what you need to do, identified the exact areas you need to work on, improved those areas, and received feedback on your work, you are now ready to get the Ielts Writing Task 2 score you deserve. Writing Task 2 Structures. I want to warn you about structures because they are not a magic wand that will help you automatically get a higher score. They will help you, but please realize that they are just a small part of your overall score. These structures provide a sentence-by-sentence template for all the main Task 2 question types, making your job much easier on exam day. Task 2 Essay Structures. Essential. Ielts Task 2 Essay Structures. Knowing how to structure your Ielts Writing Task 2 essay is an essential skill that can make the difference between getting and not getting the band score you deserve. With that in mind, we have outlined the most common Ielts Writing Task 2 structures below. Nearly all of my Task 2 essays follow this basic structure. The sentences you put in each paragraph will depend on what type of question you get. The 5 most common Ielts writing Task 2 questions are: opinion, agree or disagree; advantages and disadvantages; problem and solution; discussion, discuss both views; two-part question. Below I will outline examples in a structure approved by experienced Ielts teachers and examiners for each type of question. This will help you write a clear, coherent answer and hopefully boost your Ielts band score. I also include an example answer for each type of question so you can see the structure in a real essay. Please note that these are general structures and may vary slightly depending on the question. Please also note that no one Task 2 essay structure will get you a high score. There are many types of structures that can get you a high score. These are just some I think are effective and easy to learn. Please visit the lessons below for more detailed guidance on each type of question. I have provided a link at the end of each section. Opinion questions: agree or disagree. Typical question words: what is your opinion? Do you agree or disagree? To what extent do you agree or disagree? Direct question. Example question: some people believe that unpaid community service should be compulsory in high school programs, for example, working for a charity, improving the neighborhood or teaching sports to younger children. Do you agree or disagree? Essay structure. Introduction. 1. Paraphrase question. 2. Give your opinion and outline the main ideas. Main body paragraph 1. 1. Topic sentence. 2. Explain topic sentence. 3. Example. Main body paragraph 2. 1. Topic sentence. 2. Explain topic sentence. 3. Example. Conclusion. 1. Summary of main points and opinion. Student sample answer. It is argued that volunteering should be made part of the school curriculum. This essay agrees with that suggestion completely because it helps pupils develop soft skills and helps them gain much needed work experience. Education should not be limited to strictly academic pursuits, and those in education should also develop life skills, such as teamwork, empathy and self-discipline, and one of the best ways to hone these aptitudes is through community service. Serving those less fortunate than ourselves teaches us many lessons, including how to work with people from other backgrounds and the value of hard work, thus enabling us to hone these skills before becoming an adult. For example, many young people from wealthier countries take a gap year and help those less fortunate than themselves to increase their gratitude for what they have and improve their work ethic. Many colleges and companies are also increasingly looking for this type of experience. Most school leavers have the same grades, and charitable work can help set you apart from other students when making college applications. For example, Cambridge and Oxford receive thousands of applications from straight-A students yearly and can only accept a small percentage of applicants. What you have done outside the classroom often differentiates you from everyone else and gets you that coveted spot. In conclusion, teenagers should be made to partake in unpaid work as part of their schooling because it will help them learn things they wouldn't ordinarily learn from their teachers, and it will also boost their chances of getting into third-level education. For more detail on how to answer agree or disagree questions, please visit our opinion essay lesson. Need help writing essays like this? Check out our essay correction service. Essential Writing Task 2 Skills. No matter how good your English is, you must still learn Ielts writing skills before taking the Writing Task 2 test. These helpful guides will take you through each of these skills step by step. How to plan an essay. This post will show you how to make a great plan that will help you write a clear essay every time. The benefits of planning. There are normally around 16 students in my Ielts classes. Every new class gets at least a 30-minute session with me on planning and how much it improves your essays. I normally give the students 20 minutes to plan a Task 2 essay which they finish for homework. This is always interesting because normally, only 2 or 3 students actually follow my instructions and use the time to plan. The rest of them go straight into writing the essay. The result? The students who always took the time to plan, and I mean every time, produce better essays. Writing an Ielts essay without a plan is like putting IKEA furniture together without instructions. You will get halfway through it, get lost and frustrated, and you will lose control of your entire essay and end up with something like this. A good plan should be like a map that guides you through the essay and ensures you get to where the examiner wants you to go. Every sentence should have a purpose. If you are writing for the sake of writing, then it won't be a very good essay. Less is more in many cases, and a good plan ensures that every sentence has a purpose. But teacher, I don't have time. This is the number one excuse for not planning. What if I told you that the longer you plan, the less time it will take you to write the essay? Let's look at two examples, student A who doesn't like to plan, and student B, who spends 10 minutes planning. Student A does this, write think right delete think right delete think right. Student B does this, think right. It is impossible for most people including Ielts examiners and teachers to sit down and write a good essay without thinking it through first. If you don't plan, you have to think as you write, and doing these two things, plus writing in a foreign language, thinking about grammar and vocabulary and thinking about writing skills all at the same time, results in a very confusing piece of writing. I also find that students who don't plan have to restart their essays, and it is not uncommon to see students delete entire essays and start again. How does a plan save you time? You have 40 minutes to write a Task 2 essay. Even if you took 10 minutes to plan and 5 minutes to check your work at the end, you still have 25 minutes to write your essay. The average 250-word essay is about 12 sentences long, so you have over 2 minutes to write one sentence. I think everyone is capable of doing that. When you have a good plan, you know exactly what that sentence will be about and how it fits in with the rest of the essay. You don't have to think of ideas or structure, write grammatically correct sentences and clearly say what you think about the question. You don't have to spend exactly 10 minutes planning and 5 minutes checking at the end. You could plan for 7 to 8 minutes and check for 2 to 3 minutes. Practice finding out what works best for you. How to plan. Planning has 4 stages. Question analysis. Idea generation. Structure. Vocabulary. Question analysis. This is probably the most important stage. The number one problem most Ielts students have is not answering the question properly. Did you know you can't get above a band score 5.0 if you don't address all parts of the question? Let's look at an example question. One of the consequences of improved medical care is that the people are living longer and life expectancy is increasing. Do you think the advantages of this outweigh the disadvantages? The keywords here are improved medical care. This is our general topic. It is important to know this, not for what we should write about but about what we shouldn't write about. A common mistake is to highlight the main keywords or main topic and write about this very generally. If you do this, you have not answered the question. We, therefore, need to think about things more specifically and look for what I call micro keywords. They are living longer and life expectancy is increasing. We, therefore, need to write about these and how improved medical care has increased life expectancy. But we can't just write a general essay about this, we must look at the instruction words next. The instruction words are, do you think the advantages of this outweigh the disadvantages? In this example, we must decide which side, advantages or disadvantages, is stronger. If you choose advantages, you will have to say why these are much stronger than the advantages and why the disadvantages are not so strong. If you discuss the advantages, you will not answer the question correctly. We will also need to make our opinion about this very clear. So, in summary, we must find keywords, general topic. Find micro keywords, specific topic. Find instruction words, how to answer the question. Idea generation. Many teachers in books about Ielts advise students to brainstorm, thinking of as many ideas as possible, at this stage. I don't think that brainstorming is very effective because it leads to irrelevant ideas and wastes valuable time. Instead of brainstorming, we need to answer the questions directly. If one of your friends asked you this question in a coffee shop, you would have no problem thinking of an answer, so do the same in the exam. It helps to frame it within why questions. So for the example above, we could ask ourselves 2 questions. Why are the advantages of increased life expectancy strong? Why are disadvantages of increased life expectancy weak? We can then think of 1 or 2 relevant ideas for each question. The advantages of increased life expectancy are strong because most people think it is good if their friends and family don't die too quickly and everyone is happier. The disadvantages are that there is more demand for food and resources, but this is a weak argument because technology can solve these problems. We now have two very relevant ideas, and we can now move on to our next stage. Structure. Next, we need to put our ideas into a structure. This is very important because it helps us coherently organize our ideas, just like the examiner wants us to. There are several different types of essays and each of them has a different structure. For this essay, our structure will look like this. Paragraph 1 Introduction. 1 Paraphrase sentence. 2 Thesis statement. 3 Outline statement. Paragraph 2 Why advantages are strong. 4 Topic sentence. 5 Explanation. 6 Example. Paragraph 3 Why disadvantage are weak. 7 Topic sentence. 8 Explanation. 9 Example. Paragraph 4 Conclusion. 1 Summary of main points. We can these fill in our ideas. Paragraph 1 Introduction. Sentence 1 Paraphrase sentence. Sentence 2 These statement, advantages outweigh disadvantages. Sentence 3 Outline statement, advantages happiness disadvantages technology. Paragraph 2 Why advantages are strong. Sentence 4 Topic sentence, happiness. Sentence 5 Explanation, death causes unhappiness and longer lives lead to happiness. Sentence 6 Example Okinawa and Sardinia. Paragraph 3 Why disadvantage are weak. Sentence 7 Topic sentence, technology. Sentence 8 Explanation, technology can solve any of the drawbacks. Sentence 9 Example, GM crops and renewable energy. Paragraph 4 Conclusion. Sentence 1 Summary of main points. Now we have all our ideas, and we can think of some vocabulary. Vocabulary. Another common problem students have is repeating the same words, especially ones from the question, repeatedly. This lowers our mark for vocabulary because it shows that we can't think of synonyms. A solution to this problem is to identify words in the question that we might need to use more than once in the question. Let's look at the question again. One of the consequences of improved medical care is that the people are living longer and life expectancy is increasing. Do you think the advantages of this outweigh the disadvantages? We can think of the following synonyms. Improved medical care, enhanced medical treatment. Living longer, improved longevity. Life expectancy is increasing, the length of time people live is rising. Advantages, benefits. Disadvantages, drawbacks. What it looks like on paper. That might seem like a lot to do in 5-10 minutes, so here is what it looks like on paper. Next steps. The more you plan, the better and more quickly you will write, and it will lead to every single sentence in your essay having a purpose, which is exactly what the examiner wants. Like everything on this website, you need to take the advice and practice using it. Next time you practice a Task 2 essay, try using my advice, and I guarantee your writing will improve. Essay. Making a good plan actually saves you time when you write your essay. This guide will show you how to plan and write a clear essay every time. How to think of relevant ideas. This post will show you my strategies for thinking of better ideas for writing Task 2 questions. One of the biggest fears students have is opening up the writing paper, looking at the question and having no idea what to write. Students worry a lot about idea generation in Ielts writing Task 2, but it doesn't have to be that way. The reason for this fear is natural, but there are easy solutions. First world problems. Most of the students I teach come from developing countries, and they often complain that Ielts Task 2 questions are biased towards Western countries and are mostly first world problems. For example, in some countries, young people are encouraged to work or travel for a year between finishing high school and starting university studies. Discuss the advantages and disadvantages for young people who decide to do this. What the hell is a gap year? Shouted most of the learners in my class. I did have some sympathy for them on this question. Most Vietnamese students I teach have no first-hand experience with taking a year off before going to university. This seems like a very Western idea to them, and they felt slightly annoyed with the question, which is totally understandable. Fortunately, questions like these are rare, and most of them will be on familiar topics that most people have an opinion on, such as health, education, and the environment. Remember that this is a language test, not a general knowledge test. Do my ideas have to be entertaining? Many students also worry that their ideas are not interesting enough or they are too boring. The examiner is not looking for you to entertain her. They are looking for you to demonstrate an ability to write an essay in English supported by evidence and relevant examples. There are no extra points for interesting ideas. What the ideas must be is relevant to the question being asked. Have a look at my post on question analysis for help with that. You can have the most boring ideas in the world and still get a band score of 9, as long as your ideas are relevant. This may seem illogical to some people who have already been to university and know that your ideas should be both relevant and interesting. Stop thinking about how you write at the university level. This is an Ielts exam, not a university essay. Give the Ielts examiners what they want and nothing else. Solutions. Below I will outline several solutions that have worked well for my students in the past. They are: common topic familiarization, brainstorming, least effective, mind mapping, 5 questions method, personal opinion method, most effective. No one size fits all. I have learned from teaching my students these methods that no one method is suitable for everyone. You have to try each of them out and see which one works for you. When you are practicing, remember, the examiner is looking for relevant ideas that you can support by explaining them and giving examples. You should also use the one that gives you ideas quickly. You will only have 2 or 3 minutes for idea generation in the exam. Don't worry if this is taking you a lot of time now, you will improve with practice. Pick a method below, set a time limit, and practice with old past exam papers. Common topic familiarization. This means knowing the 10 common topics that come up in the exam and learning some vocabulary associated with these repeated topics. The wider your vocabulary, the easier it will be for you to think of ideas. If you have time, don't just stick with the 10 most common topics, go even further. When you have free time, have a look at some English newspapers and identify some topics that might come up in the Ielts test. When you do this, you should be doing 2 things. The first is simply noting down any unknown vocabulary, trying to guess the meaning from the context and then looking up the meaning to confirm on your smartphone or dictionary. This will really help you, not only in writing part 2 but also in all the other parts of the Ielts exam. Brainstorming. Brainstorming is basically thinking of as many ideas as possible relevant to your topic. It was developed by an advertising agency to develop new ideas for advertising campaigns. The technique involves putting keywords in the middle of a page and then writing down as many ideas associated with that idea as possible. Some students, and many teachers, love this method, and if it works for you, then continue to use it, but I have a few problems with it. Firstly, some students spend too much time on this stage and try to think of too many ideas. Secondly, because they are thinking very generally, their ideas are irrelevant. It then takes extra time, which you don't have in the exam, to sort out the relevant from the irrelevant ideas. Mind mapping. Mind mapping is a way to visually organize your thoughts onto paper. Some people love this method because it represents how their brains work and allows them to organize their thoughts. It is much more organized than simply brainstorming and can be done very quickly once you have practiced a few times with different questions. A good technique is to place the keywords in the middle and then place the micro keywords on the branches. The only disadvantage to this method is that some students spend too much time creating the perfect mind map. There are no points for creating beautiful mind maps, they are only there to help you with ideas, so do it quickly. 5 questions method. This method uses who/what/why/where/how question words to generate ideas for writing task. This works best for people who think very logically and know a little about the topic already. Let's look at an example. In some countries, young people are encouraged to work or travel for a year between finishing high school and starting university studies. Discuss the advantages and disadvantages for young people who decide to do this. Why? To gain work experience, to experience life in different countries, to understand different cultures, to make money before going to university. Lazy, not mature. Where? Tourist destinations, developing countries, local business, an internship in a big company. How? Save money, permission from parents and university, apply for internship/job, travel to inexpensive countries. So as you can see, in a couple of minutes, we have generated many ideas by asking ourselves just 3 of the 5 questions. These ideas are much more than we need to complete the task, so always remember to choose the ones you feel comfortable writing about after you generate your ideas. Personal opinion method, or coffee shop method. I think this is the most effective method for generating ideas for writing tasks because it is the fastest and helps students focus on the question. The method is simple. I ask students to imagine they are sitting with their friend or family member in a coffee shop, and they ask their opinion. In an exam, there is a lot of pressure on you, and you often find it difficult to think, but if you were in a relaxed environment with a friend, you would have no problem giving your opinion. To think of more ideas, imagine that your friend has the opposite feelings to you about the topic and write their ideas down. Let's look at the example below. Your friend, do you think it's a good idea that young people take a year off between school and university to work or travel? You yes. Many young people are not mature enough to go to university at 18, and traveling or working will help them mature. Working for a year could also allow them to save money and gain valuable work experience. If they go traveling, they will get to experience different cultures. So you see, you have just thought about all the ideas you will need for this question. You can write your ideas down, recommended, or think about them for a minute. This gives you a very clear idea about your opinion on the question and will help you stay relevant and write a coherent essay. Like any method, it takes practice, so try it out with a few past questions. I hope this has been of help to you, and please let me know if you have any questions or feedback. If you have any other ideas, I'd love to hear from you. Ideas. This guide provides 5 different methods to help you quickly think of relevant ideas that are directly linked to the question. How to write a complex sentence. Introduction. One of the biggest mistakes students make in Ielts writing is to try and show off and be overly ambitious with their grammar. This is because many students think that all of their sentences need to be complex, they don't, and them not understanding what a complex sentence is. Trying to write overly complicated sentences leads to grammar mistakes, and this will lead to lost marks in many different areas. This post will look at how many complex sentences do you actually need in each paragraph? What a complex sentence actually is. How to make complex sentences. Examples to help us understand and transfer this knowledge to our writing. What does the examiner expect? If we look at the examiner's marking scheme, it states that to get a band 6 for grammar, we need to use a mix of simple and complex sentences. For band 7, it states use a variety of complex structures. This obviously means that we should use complex sentences in our writing, but it does not mean that we should try to make all of our sentences complex. All band 9 answers I have seen use a mixture of simple and complex sentences. The key is to know when to use them, and we will look at this below. But first, we need to understand what a complex sentence actually is. What is a complex sentence? The main problem here seems to be the word complex. Complex, in this situation, does not mean complicated, long or impressive. This is a common misconception and leads to students writing very long and grammatically incorrect sentences that are very difficult to understand. For example, in the modern world, global warming is one of the most popular topics, causing many environmental difficulties and tough challenges arising from its serious consequences. This is a very typical sentence from an essay that is trying to be overly complex. This student has tried to put 4 simple ideas into one paragraph, resulting in an awkward and incoherent sentence. They have lost control of the grammar, and this affects the meaning. When meaning is affected, it stops the reading understanding of what is being said, and that isn't good for your Ielts writing band scores. Complex sentences are not very complex, they are just 2 or more simple sentences. Putting them together makes the essay more coherent and cohesive. Let's look at the first example again. In the sentence above, there are 4 simple ideas that we can put into simple sentences. 1. Global warming is a common topic these days. 2. Global warming causes environmental problems. 3. There are tough challenges associated with global warming. 4. Global warming has very serious consequences. If we write all of our sentences in the Ielts exam like this, we lose marks because they are too simple. What we need to do is put them together to make complex sentences. Complex sentence examples. For example, one of the most common environmental issues is global warming, which causes many serious environmental problems. Tough challenges are associated with this issue, and its effects have very serious consequences. I don't think there is anything complex about these sentences, just simple ideas put together. Complex is just a label, not a description. I have taken each of the 4 simple sentences and put them together in 2 complex sentences. This result is a grammatically correct, easy to understand paragraph. When should I use complex sentences? Generally, we should use simple sentences when making main points, normally at the beginning of a paragraph. We should then use complex sentences when expanding on the main point, for instance, when giving a supporting example or explaining our main point. Example. This is a question about whether fast food or junk food should be taxed at a higher rate than normal food. Increasing taxes would raise prices and lower consumption. Fast food companies would pass on these taxes to consumers in the form of higher prices, which would lead to people being unable to afford junk food. For instance, the cost of organic food has proven prohibitively expensive for most people. Despite this, people in many developed countries, where the problem is most acute, can afford price hikes and will continue to eat high-fat meals. The first sentence is the topic sentence and makes the main point. It is, therefore, acceptable for this to be a simple sentence. The second sentence explains the main point and uses the word "and" to link 2 simple sentences together to make 1 complex sentence. The third sentence gives an example and uses the linking phrase "for instance." The final sentence makes a concession, shows the limitation of the argument, and is also a complex sentence, linking more than one idea together. This paragraph has a mix of simple and complex sentences and therefore satisfies the marking criteria. How do I make a complex sentence? Remember that a complex sentence is more than one simple sentence to make one sentence. We, therefore, need to learn and become confident using the various grammatical structures that allow us to do that. Below are a few ways we can link ideas together in a sentence. To make a complex sentence, we normally should have 2 things: a dependent clause and an independent clause. A clause is a group of words with both a subject and a verb. An example of a dependent clause is, because the weather was cold. This is a dependent clause because it has a subject and a verb but doesn't make any sense. To make sense, we need to add an independent clause. As the name suggests, an independent clause can make sense independently. For example, I wore a warm coat. If we combine these 2 clauses, we get a complex sentence: I wore a warm coat because the weather was cold. As you can see, complex sentences don't have to be complicated. Let's now look at other ways we can make complex sentences. 1. Relative clauses. You can use relative clauses to give essential or extra information about a person, place, or thing. This makes our writing more fluent and more coherent. We do this by using relative pronouns like who, which, and that. For example, he's the kind of person who is always friendly. For example, air pollution can cause health problems. Air pollution is largely caused by motor vehicles. We can convert these 2 simple sentences into 1 complex sentence by using the word which. Air pollution, which is mostly caused by motor vehicles, can cause health problems. For example, there is evidence that some people are more likely to smoke. These people have parents and friends who smoke. We can link both of these sentences together by using the word who. Evidence shows that people with parents and friends who smoke are more likely to smoke. 2. Subordinate clauses. A subordinate clause can describe nouns and pronouns, describe verbs, adverbs, and adjectives, or act as the subject or object of another clause. They connect an independent clause with a dependent clause with words like as, because, while, until, even though, although, when and if. 3. Conditional clauses. Also known as if clauses, they are used to express that the action in the main clause can only take place if a certain condition is met. For example, if I had $1 million, I would quit my job. I will be really happy if I pass the Ielts test. These clauses are good for giving examples in Ielts writing part 2. For example, increasing taxes would raise prices and lower consumption. Fast food companies would pass on these taxes to consumers in the form of higher prices, which would lead to people being unable to afford junk food. If the cost of organic food proves prohibitively expensive for most people, they will not buy it. Despite this, people in many developed countries, where the problem is most acute, can afford price hikes and will continue to eat high-fat meals. They are also useful for discussing unreal situations or speculating about results in the past or present. There are 4 different kinds of conditionals which I will outline below. Zero conditionals are used to talk about true information or facts. We can use if or when to introduce the conditional. Example, nowadays, when we travel long distances, we usually use air travel. First conditionals are used to talk about things in the present or future. Example, if the city's population grows, we will need to build more infrastructure. Second conditionals are used to talk about impossible things. Example, if the sun didn't come up tomorrow, we wouldn't have any life on Earth. Third conditionals are used to speculate about past events. It is often used when we regret something or to imagine a past unreal situation. Example, the Second World War would have never happened if Germany had been given a fairer peace settlement in World War I. 4 compound sentences. Compound sentences consist of 2 independent clauses linked together with a conjunction such as and, for or but. Examples. I really want to study, but I'm too tired. She got to the test center early and did well on her Ielts test. Some students think these sentences are too simple to count as complex, but they are wrong. Warning. The crucial thing is to understand and be able to use these grammar structures before your Ielts test. Some students memorize many structures and try to insert them into their essays without considering how they work or if they are accurate. This will only lead to unnatural and incoherent sentences. Remember that your sentences must also be error-free, so only use structures you are confident using. The key is to only use them appropriately. Concentrate on answering the question. If you know how to use these structures, they will flow naturally.